told truth, didn't I? And this is what I'm doing. And pray that you understand what the spirit of gift.
Text 4, The Teacher, 2009, Lee, Prophecy, Truthful Prophecy,
Free will.
from living water that I received.
Now, continuing on. Seth was the third day man from Adam and Eve on the 8th day of the 8th day. So let's put it in perspective. The first man of the spirit was Adam and Eve.
In
when
one.
they disobeyed, God removed them from the tree of life.
This is done in the flesh.
Paradise. Placed them east of Eden, earthly ground, and the tree of life lifted up. Meaning that on the 8th day, when Adam and Eve was placed out of the living water, she possessed Cain first. So that would be the 8th day man of flesh, not of first creation of spirit of Adam and Eve, which was in the garden. But remember, they never had children at that time when they were forced out of the garden of paradise. The firstborn was after being thrown out of paradise, which would mean the firstborn of man, flesh, Adam, would be Cain as the 8th day man. And shortly after would come Abel. They're twins, you remember, but Cain came first, which would make him the first son, the first man born of Adam. Meaning that Cain was the first day man, and Abel was the second born of flesh. After Cain killed Abel would come Seth. So Seth would be the third of the 8th day man from Adam. All from the 8th day. So don't let people fool you. All of this happened in the 8th day after God rested. Not during the time of the 6th day and not during the day of rest. Which would make all flesh man, starting with Cain, that of the 8th day man, out of the seed of Adam and Eve. Make it clear now. It can be proven and shown. I'll show you how a true worshiper of the word of Adonai, Elohim, is presented to a person if you're going to be truthful in your heart, which is your mind, not that pump on your chest or your breast, underneath your ribs. That's only a pump like a fuel pump in a car. The electrical impulses in the brain is a spirit. Make sure you understand that. But let's continue from the word of Adonai. Spoke these words. This was before heaven was spewed forward out of his God Adonai's mouth, as was everything else of Adonai's creation, only when proposed to be. Remember, quote, God, quote, proposed means thought of in heaven, unquote, what was to be. Ask yourself this question. Quote, how can a man believe in the word of God by a person's reading it from books which were written and taught by men, unquote? That's your question. How can you speak the word of God if you're only reading writings by a man, that not of God? Only one way it could be done would be by the purpose of Adonai, the comforter that he would give you. It's called manna, which is the Spirit of God. Think that the New Testament told you they're trying to use that from the Old Testament and change it in the New Testament. I don't believe in the Old Testament. God died for that. God didn't die for that. God fulfilled the truth. And all those who believed in the 5 books of Mushi that you call Moses.
And there are more than 5
the reason you can't
books too.
Because you believe in the New Testament. God didn't come bringing a new thing. He told you with his own mouth, his word, in the New Testament at the beginning, when he started choosing those followers, he did not come to make a New Testament. Man is making the New Testament, people. Not Adonai. God says, I tell you from the beginning of the end, at the beginning. Don't ask me at the end. Why? When I told you from the beginning of Adam and Eve, while they were in heaven, and it started on the day I placed them on the earth,
in the flesh,
when they ate of the tree of evil, which is being a liar.
Not Adam, though.
That old Satan, that evil serpent, etc., etc., etc. But what did it boil down to? All those names given to Satan boil down to a liar. And we listen
Eve
to all
did not
these
lie, though.
Ministers and preachers
And let's make another thing perfectly clear. I'm not Richard Nixon now. I'm a teacher of prophecy. I received living water, which is manna, to teach the truth. Eve never lied either. She was beguiled by eating of the tree of her own imagination from that tree. The tree is spiritual, people. It's imagination. I keep repeating over and over. The tree of good and evil is imagination of good. You can imagine evil. And you can dream good, you can dream evil. That's imagination. That's invisible. That's spiritual, isn't it? Well, wake up and learn then. Eve never lied, so she couldn't have been Satan. Only thing Eve did was watch what the animals was doing when they were having sex, saw that one animal had a penis and one animal had a vagina, and she knew she had a vagina, she knew Adam had a penis, and she convinced him to do it. That's all you got to say. It's so simple to say it instead of being sneaky about the penis. Being sneaky about the genital part of the woman, the vagina. Oh, they call it voodoo, hoodoo, you do. Call it voodoo. And this was Eve, but the one that lied was Cain. Not Abel, Cain. Continue on. I'm Lee the teacher, the true way to show what living water teaches you about the commandments, laws, statutes of God. Y'all,
scientists that don't know what is the main word, gamma ray. Read about what is a gamma ray. What are they? What does it consist of? Read it first. Ask somebody that know about it. Anybody that know about a gamma ray. Ask them and see what they tell you. What are gamma rays? Hey, that's so much power you can't comprehend. God said he's the power of all powers. He possessed everything, and it all comes out of gamma ray. You didn't know that, did you? But your preacher, he'll laugh and walk up and down, back and forth, up on the stage, because you know what a stage is. That's where the actors go. They would pound, scream, yell, wipe their forehead from sweat. They're not sweating because God is pouring the love into them and the truth. They're sweating because they lying so much, it's sweating, making them sweat to get those lies out. And that's what I learned all my days of going to these different religious churches my mother would take me to. And then when I got a little older, in the military, out of the military, going to different parts of the world, seeing these different religions, like the Catholic. Good example. Go to catechism. Every time you do something bad, wrong, they run to the Catholic Church, to the priest, hiding in a booth, won't let you see his face. Pretend like he's God. I'm a spirit. I'm in this room, but you can't see my face, can you? So tell me what you do, my brother. He said, I sinned all week. He said, okay, you forgiven. Leave some money and go and sin no more. And the fool breaks out the door and start doing what he wants to do.